Hey guys, this is Amit and you are watching Tech Dad. In this video, we are going to compare between Poco X3 Pro versus Samsung Galaxy A32. And we will discuss which one is better in camera, performance, display, body of the devices, features, communication chips and about the prices. And in the end of the video, I will tell you which one is better according to me. So watch this video till the end. So without wasting any time, let's start the video. Let the comparison start with the camera of the devices. Talking about the rear camera of the devices, X3 Pro have quad camera setup, 48 megapixel of wide camera, 8 megapixel of ultra wide camera, 2 megapixel of macro camera and 2 megapixel of depth sensor. Whereas A32 also comes with quad camera setup, 64 megapixel of wide camera, 12 megapixel of ultra wide camera, 5 megapixel of macro camera and 5 megapixel of depth sensor. So the winner here is A32 because it have better camera sensors which can take great photos. And about the front camera of the devices, X3 Pro have 20 megapixel of wide camera, whereas A32 also have 20 megapixel of wide camera. So I will call it a tie here because both of the devices have the same sensor. Let's talk about the camera features of the devices. X3 Pro have dual LED flash, HDR and panorama, whereas A32 have LED flash, HDR and panorama. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have dual LED flash. And about the video recording options in the devices, X3 Pro can shoot 4K video max at 30 fps, Full HD video max at 240 fps with gyro electronic image stabilization. In the other side, A32 can shoot Full HD video max at 30 fps. So without a doubt, the winner here is X3 Pro because it have gyro electronic image stabilization and 4K video recording capability. Moving to the performance of the devices, let's start with the operating system of the devices. X3 Pro have Android 11 support. On the other side, A32 also have Android 11 support. So I will call it a tie here. And about the user interface of the devices, X3 Pro have MIUI specially designed for Poco, whereas A32 have one UI. So I will call it a tie here because both of the user interface have different UI. So it's up to you which UI you like it or not, it's up to you. Let's talk about the processor of the devices. X3 Pro is powered by Snapdragon 860 based on 7nm processor, and about the A32 it's powered by Helio G80 based on 12nm processor. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have more faster processing speed. And about the GPU of the devices, X3 Pro is packed with Adreno 640 whereas A32 is packed with Mali G52. So clearly the winner here is X3 Pro because it can give you much more FPS in games. Let's talk about the clock speed of the devices. X3 Pro can clock at 2.96 GHz based on octa-core Creo chipset, whereas A32 can clock at 2.0 GHz based on octa-core Cortex chipset. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster clock speed. And about the RAM variants in the devices, X3 Pro comes with two RAM variants, 6 and 8 GB of RAM variants, whereas the A32 have triple RAM variants, 4, 6 and 8 GB of RAM variants. So clearly the winner here is X3 Pro because it have high speed of RAM. Let's talk about the internal storage of the devices. X3 Pro comes with two storage options, 128 and 256 GB of storage, whereas A32 have two options, 64 and 128. So clearly the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster read and write speed. And about the external storage of the devices, X3 Pro have external card slot but it uses shared SIM slot, whereas A32 have dedicated card slot option. So the winner here is A32 because it have dedicated card slot option. Moving to the display features of the devices, let's start with the display size of the devices. X3 Pro have 6.67 inches of display whereas A32 have 6.4 inches of display. So clearly the winner here is X3 Pro because it have bigger display size. And about the screen to body ratio of the devices, X3 Pro have approximately 84.6% of ratio whereas A32 have 84.6%. So clearly it's a tie here because both of the devices have same ratio. Let's talk about the screen resolution of the devices. X3 Pro comes with Full HD Plus display. In the other side, A32 have Full HD Plus display too. So it's a tie here. And about the display type of the devices, X3 Pro have IPS LCD display having 120Hz of refresh rate with HDR10 support, and A32 have Super AMOLED display having 90Hz of refresh rate. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have 120Hz of refresh rate which can increase your viewing experience of watching content as well as gaming experience. Moving to the body features of the devices, let's start with the thickness of the devices. X3 Pro have 9.4 mm of thickness whereas A32 have 8.4 mm of thickness. So clearly the winner here is A32 because of slimmer body design it have. Talking about the weight of the devices, X3 Pro comes with 215 grams of weight whereas A32 have 184 grams of weight. So the winner here is A32 because it have lower body weight. And about the protective glass of the devices, X3 Pro have Gorilla Glass 6, whereas the A32 have Gorilla Glass 3. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have newer generation of glass which is more durable than its older generation. Let's talk about the build quality of the devices. X3 Pro have glass back with plastic frame, whereas A32 have plastic back with plastic frame. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it have solid build quality. And about the SIM options in the devices, both of the devices have dual nano SIM support, so it's a tie here. Moving to some of the most important features of the devices, let's start with the fingerprint scanner of the devices. X3 Pro have side mounted fingerprint scanner. In the other side, A32 have under display fingerprint scanner. So according to me, the winner here is X3 Pro because it have faster scanner. And about the sensors in the devices, X3 Pro have accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity and compass, whereas A32 have accelerometer, gyroscope, proximity and compass. So again, I will call it a tie. Let's talk about the battery capacity of the devices. X3 Pro have 5160 mAh of battery capacity, whereas A32 have 5000 mAh of battery. So I will call it a tie here because both of the devices have approximately the same battery capacity. Let's talk about the charging speed of the devices. X3 Pro have 33 watts of fast charging, whereas A32 have 15 watts of fast charging. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it can charge up your device faster. Let's talk about the loudspeaker of the devices. X3 Pro have stereo speakers, whereas A32 have normal speakers. So the winner here is X3 Pro because it can produce immersive sound experience. And about the headphone jack of the devices, X3 Pro have 3.5mm of headphone jack, whereas A32 also have. So I will call it a tie. Moving to the communication chips in the devices, starting with the WLAN of the devices. Both of the devices comes with Wi-Fi AC, dual band Wi-Fi, Wi-Fi direct and hotspot. So it's a tie here. And about the Bluetooth version of the devices, X3 Pro have 5th generation of Bluetooth, whereas A32 also have 5th generation of Bluetooth. So I will call it a tie here because both of the devices have same generation of Bluetooth. Let's talk about the processing chips in the devices. X3 Pro have AGPS, GLONASS, Galileo and BDS, whereas A32 have AGPS, GLONASS, Galileo and BDS. So clearly it's a tie here. And about the USB connectivity of the devices, X3 Pro have 2nd gen of Type-C connector with OTG support, whereas A32 also have 2nd gen of Type-C connector with OTG support. So I will call it a tie here. Lastly, moving to the price of the devices. In the international market, starting range of X3 Pro is around $220 and A32 is available from $235. In the Indian market, X3 Pro is starting range from 17,500 rupees, whereas A32 is available from 20,500 rupees. So the conclusion of the video is, in the camera, the winner is X3 Pro. In the performance, the winner is X3 Pro. In the display, the winner is X3 Pro. In the body segment, the winner is X3 Pro. In the features of the devices, the winner is X3 Pro. In the communication chips, it's a tie, and about the prices, the winner is X3 Pro. So the decision is totally yours. Which device you like the most so far, and let me know in the comment below. What do you think? Which device is better for you? So thank you guys for watching this video. If you like our content, please like our video, share this video and subscribe our channel. Comment what you thought in the comment below. If you're watching this video on Facebook, please like our page TechDad. And if you want to follow me on Instagram, here's my Instagram ID on the screen. This is Amit and I will see you guys in the next one. Till then, bye.